Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicki Pulis. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our webinar about sharing your club success with the SOS. It's my pleasure to introduce our presenter for this evening. From the Rotary Club of Carson City, he's a very talented man who's currently serving as our District Awards Chair or SOS Chair, and his name is Larry Harvey. Larry's the past president of the Rotary Club of Sparks, which was named Club of Excellence the year that he was club president. And the photo of Larry is when he was receiving one of the awards at the district conference. So certainly a great person to be helping us with the SOS. So Larry, thanks for joining us and for leading our webinar tonight. I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Vicki. Hopefully, everyone, we're going to take a little time tonight, walk through the SOS, hopefully answer a lot of your questions. I imagine that some of you may have some specific questions that we'll be happy to delve into. So first, again, thank you again. This used to be called the Call for Recognition. As we stated in the packet and cover letter, we had a number of people that actually some clubs who didn't participate, and part of the reasoning was we're not in it for the recognition, we're in it for giving back to the community for what we do. And so we agreed with that and wanted to say basically this process is really not about the recognition itself, it's about sharing the great things that we do with each other. So we are really pushing the last few years to encourage people to participate in this program. Hopefully you'll see this is not really that difficult for a group. It can look overwhelming when it first gets started. Hopefully we'll show that it's actually pretty simple. And also that we encourage you to do even part of this. If your club does one thing in an avenue of service extremely well, please complete that section. Same thing with your projects. These are things that we want to hear from and learn about from each other. There are so many great things I hear clubs do that don't participate that I know would have easily got recognized or won an award for that, but more importantly to have shared it with the full group, all of our clubs. So without further ado, let's get started. What I've done is simply put up here on the screen, we'll walk through the different pages of the SOS project and hopefully be able to answer questions for you. So you can see the due date is April 24th. The Rotary at Work submissions, because that is actually most clubs are doing it on around that date, will be approximately 1 week later. So we'll actually ask for everything in except for just send us anything about pictures or what finally was done and achieved at the Rotary at Work event. And then, of course, the next page is your table of contents that just walks through where you find the different parts of this proposal. The overview, to make it clear, so small clubs are up to 30 members, and that's where you were at the end of last year by Rotary. Medium club, 31 to 54, and large clubs are 55 plus members. Notations are, and items that are underlined have been taken from the 14-15 presidential citation. And many of you, and some people are club presidents or have been, that is a separate award that can be won by each club. So we'd like to note those. In other words, if you just achieved those, you potentially would also get your presidential citation award as well. We also note the project of the year for RI President Gary Huang's Rotary Day Light Up Rotary event. Our District Governor Joe wanted to make sure that was also part of this, and there are links throughout. At the very end of our SOS program is a number of definitions and links for you to be able to go and see what it is they're looking at. That was something we added last year. Actually, great help by Judy Clark, who has done a great job with the Sparks Club for many years by adding in information. So many of us are looked at these and really wonder what those are. And people who have been in Rotary for many years are questioning and often don't know what some of these numbers are, what they mean. So hopefully that will help you. So let's get right into it. So in the foundation is an example. I just pull that up here. It's meant to be where you all should have received a PDF, but it's a fillable, where you can just go up and click onto each button, write in the name of your club, date, the chair, phone, etc. We found that by many presidents, so easy way made to do this, if your club breaks up board members or at least chairs into the different avenues of service, such as foundation, is to hand this form to that person to be responsible to complete this. Sometimes breaking it up like that makes it a lot easier. So simply, you're putting in your different club name. As an example, I'm putting in the Carson City Club, the date, the chair, etc. By providing the phone, fax, and email, it's an opportunity for us, if we have questions, to get back to that person who is responsible for that. I will go through it lightly, and some of these are very self-explanatory, but we might as well walk through some of these items to make sure people understand. So example number 1, have at least 2 Rotary Foundation projects that touch your heart, and that's the terminology that comes from Rotary during the year, sharing successful foundation projects. We give an example. Some people use the Rotary Foundation Minute videos on RI website to create awareness, and that alone can be something that does that. Someone asked me, or some of the questions I've received is things like, they'll ask me, is there a definition of what that is to touch your heart? And no, there's not a specific. So really it's up to each club to look at the projects they're doing, that does it meet that, and they can go ahead and submit them that they have accomplished those. Number 2, you participate in a district simplified grant. Obviously that data is also with Rotary, but you're just letting us know that you were part of a grant and how that worked. Same thing with the global grant or package grant. Again, number 4, new Rotary Foundation benefactors who request society members, something that I'm sure your foundation chair is keeping track of, and that's an information that will help your club add. Attaining 100% participation Rotary Foundation annual program giving. Every member provides, every return, every year project. Again, many of these are pretty self-explanatory. Annual programs fund contributions per capita. That is something that we are going to go, you can get it, you will find it, of course, on the RI website to get this data. You'll provide that. We'll also double check it, since that is something that we can pull down and see as well. You'll also use the current membership to come up with the numbers to see if you meet the goal. When you set and meet the goals for Polio Plus to number 7, that's a commitment you made with the district governor. So that's not something that is there. I can go and see how much you've given to Polio Plus to compare that on there. But it's a difference on what you've given, and each club may have a different goal. So we're going to use the goal that you set. Down to number 8, have at least 10% of the club enrolled in a Rotary's recurring giving program, Rotary Direct. That is one of those that some people may not be fully aware of, and so that's an area where you might want to go down, and we'll do this near the end, just go down to the definitions and actually see where you can pull that up and learn about what's Rotary Direct, because there's a lot of clubs who probably don't participate because they don't even know about it. So this is another way to get clubs involved in the different parts of Rotary and how to give to the foundation. Excuse me, number 9, again, participate in a club or area foundation dinner or event. Pretty simple. Most clubs participate either by attendance or hosting, or in one way or another, most clubs do participate in some fashion, and you want to be able to show that. Number 10, something that you don't see that often, actually, and that's nominate or sponsor Rotary Peace Fellow or Global Grant Scholar, or assist another club in that phase. Many clubs will have an area that someone does that, and other clubs in the area assist them financially to support that project. And again, we'll find those in the definition for those who aren't sure what they are, because what it does, it's a way to get our clubs thinking, is that something that we want to do, get involved in, or support. Go back to number 11, chair and committee chairs attend foundation seminar. Again, pretty simple process. And I'm just kind of go through here. Again, increasing number of sustaining members. Club has 100% Paul Harris Fellows at a time during the year, not something that happens at every club. And so when you go through these, there's 17 items, and I can tell you that that can seem very overwhelming. I'm going to tell you now that there's almost no club that would actually have each box completed. So that's where it can feel like, oh my gosh, we're not doing very much in our club. And you may be doing very well for your club size or location. So remember, it's okay that you may have some blank spaces, but it certainly is great for that chair and the president of the club to see these and maybe inspire sometime that they might get involved in something that they haven't done before. So that's something that I want you to know. You notice the last two are new. Those are something that each time we have a new district governor, they add something to this to see what they want. And this one, the club president personally gives to the Rotary Foundation. That's an extra one as a leadership to show that they're leading in that area. And bring a computer to meeting to enroll members in Rotary Direct. In other words, we talked about Rotary Direct a minute ago. And again, it's a way to educate on how they can give automatically to the foundation. So any questions on the foundation area? And I know you'll be able to type them in for Vicki, so I'm going to move on. But
so Larry,
we'll come back and stop for any questions.
I didn't see any questions there, but while you're there, how about talking about the club size? Where would they find whether they're a small, medium, or large club?
Yeah, that was in the very beginning we talked about. We actually went through the size.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. I missed that then.
Okay, right there. So small club up to 30 members, 3154 is medium, and 55 plus is large.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So again, we go into the avenues of service. So the second is called administration, and it goes through another grouping to cover that. Same thing in that, very simple to fill these out. Just fill in the spaces. Club reviewed its bylaws and amended if necessary. That is something that many clubs talk about doing and often don't do. So it's pretty simple to award a few points to have someone go through the bylaws as an example. Submits events articles to the district newsletter or post events on the district website or district Facebook page. Many clubs get involved in newsletters and things but may not think to go ahead and submit several of their articles or projects to the district newsletter or website. It's easy to do, and usually you'll get recognized on there. Average attendance, something we also can pick up from the RI website, but the idea being the better your percentage, you actually get more points based on your average attendance at meetings. And that there's something like you already have done. By January 15th, the club has the president selected for 1560. So that's obviously something your club has done, and something you'd note here, that your president-elect attended pets, that your officers, people went to district assembly is another example. How many people register for the district conference, obviously a way to encourage attendance at the district conference. Club participates in Rotary Academy. And again, most of the time, president-elects do Rotary Academy, and is that something that your club is aware of and is encouraging all of your members potentially to do? And we'll find that in definitions for those who aren't aware of that. Club is at least one member serving at the district level. Actually, it's amazing to me when we go to district meetings how many clubs do have people participating somewhere at the district level. Quite a lot, and the idea being to encourage that. We have a lot of clubs who participate in our visioning or vision to action and creating long-term plans, and another encouragement for that. Club bulletins are provided, hard or electronic copy. Again, club website. Club has 3 district chairs present at a club program, something pretty simple to do. And I looked at this when I was president as a roadmap saying, hey, that's a good idea. Let me make sure we incorporate that. And that's what I look at. These are ideas to encourage clubs, that these are things that make them usually a little healthier club. Adopted a program for leadership of club members or participated in Rotary Leadership Institute. Something started a couple years ago that's really gaining a lot of ground, and we're seeing a lot more participation in, something I'd encourage people to learn more about. And using Rotary Club Central and Rotary Showcase for projects. So we encourage this by adding points for those who use this. The actual submission will go directly to myself and our committee for review, but we encourage people to use Rotary Club Central and Rotary Showcase to highlight their events, and a little later we'll get into that. Hold a board retreat prior to July 1st, 14, again, things that would have already happened, and appoint champion to encourage participation at district conference. These are things that were encouraged. Public image. This is another one, gain media coverage and action-oriented service project. Public relations program to promote club activities. Again, these are pretty simple to walk through, and ask your club either does or doesn't them. They have distributed the electronic club newsletter to non-Rotarians or local media as an example of how to get your name out there. Establish or redesign the website. Use the social media in some way, and Rotary Showcase is part of that, Facebook, etc. Sponsored a career day in which club members introduce vocations of local youth, and that can be part of career coaching. We connected that. That was a question that kept coming up, and if you have people part of career coaching, that counts. Here we have that Light Up Rotary, and in the definitions we've made that more clear along with a link to see exactly the brochure that comes along with that from our RI president. And club define their signature activity promoted to the public. Usually that's their annual event. So that is usually also very easy for clubs to be part of.
So I do have some questions now, Larry.
Great.
Okay, so one question from Regina Lockwood is, 3 district chairs present at the club. What district chairs are you talking about?
Well, that's a great question. If you go to our website, you'll see who are the district chairs. An example would be myself, the chair of the awards. There's a number of people who hold different positions from administration, et cetera, that you would look at to see, would you want one of them to come and present to your club, either part of what's going on at the district, what they're involved in. So I hope that answered that question. But would be on the district website to look for the chairs. You're able to find those on the website.
Yes, so she had mentioned foundation. There's also like a literacy chair, a RILA chair, community service chair. There's lots of different chairs that you can find either in your district directory or on the district website. And then we've got some questions. Let's see, if a club president set aggressive or optimistic goals, are they penalized in recognition, if they set really ambitious goals?
Generally, the answer is no, because it's often, hopefully, that some do that. We want them to reach. Where it might, there's 1 or 2 that might be more problematic. Example, the polio goal, because we do hold them to the goal that they set. Generally speaking, the goals don't impact the numbers that we have. You either have attendance. Is exactly what we have. Your attendance is. It's not about what the goal was. It's about what you actually achieved. So most of the numbers we're using are actual numbers achieved and not based on the goal amount.
So there's just a couple of those goals that are a couple of those categories where they get points for meeting the goal then, Larry?
Correct. Like
okay.
The polio is really the main one where there's a goal set and they meet it. The rest, example, foundation, yes, of course, you set a goal, but really we're going to measure what you actually did and, per member, et cetera. So whether we look at it as a club total or break it down by member, we're going to look at the actuals.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I think that's all the questions at this point.
Great. So the next vocational is, avenue of service is vocational. So again, going through the list, club participates in a vocational development program, career day, a mentoring program, job shadowing, retraining, science fair, all kinds of ways to get involved in the vocational area. Club participated in an adult literacy project. We saw more and more of those the last few years. Club gave vocational service awards to members of the community at large or club members. That's recognizing someone further in business. So again, I've had people ask me, do we have a special definition of that? And the answer is no. That's what the club would define of why they would give a community member an award, usually business related in this case. Club has an ongoing program to keep the 408 test before its members, such as reciting it at each meeting, giving out coins or cards. Pretty simple. Club has an employee and a professional recognition day, police, fire, teacher, medical, etc. Conducted tours of member businesses. We have the Rotary Means Business. That's been pretty effective for a number of clubs. So participating in that would be part of that. Conducted a tour of member businesses. Club awards academic, athletic, or vocational scholarships to high school or college. We have most clubs are involved in that in some way. Club presented an ethics program, a discussion on a workshop on maintaining high ethical standards in the workplace, and invited non-Rotarian business leaders. So that's a little more specific, that the ethics is something that, especially in our area or region, has come on with Rotary. Number 9, started a career counseling or vocational-based training program and invited non-Rotarian participants. Number 10, took a new vocational project, and so to explain that. And club organized at least one professional networking event to introduce local professionals to Rotary. Sponsoring Career Day, I mentioned Rotary Means Business. Developed a listing of members in print or online with their classifications. Administrated members to minutes with each other. So that's really encouraged. I know there was a time when people felt discouraged to talk about their vocation and what they do. And this is really showing that we meant to encourage that. Number 15, participates in district music band or speech contests. And club has a program such as member minutes at least quarterly to encouraging members to speak about their vocation without penalty. So again, encouraging people to know that it's okay to talk about vocation and what we do.
Okay, I have one question that goes back to the foundation area, Larry. Mm-hmm. The question is, it says participate in area foundation dinner 10 points. So what does that mean? Does that mean if one person goes, you get 10 points, or how would you evaluate that question? How would you explain that question?
Great. I'm sorry. Let me just find the question.
Okay.
So it was a foundation.
Participate in area foundation dinner.
Oh, it would just be a flat amount if you participate in the event.
So if any one member of the club went to the area foundation dinner, that would be 10 points.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
So Dale, let me know if we didn't answer your question, but I think we have it so that if anybody in the club participates. We have a couple of other questions. Would beginning a vocational program on Facebook by highlighting members and their professions qualify as a new vocational service project?
Yes, it would.
Sounds great, doesn't it? It says, we pictured club members and outlined what they did for their profession on our Facebook page. Sounds like a great program, doesn't it?
Please
awesome.
Put it in so we can tell everybody.
So Regina, put that in.
Get everyone to do it.
Okay, thank you. And I think we're up to date on questions right now. Thank you, Larry.
Great one. Yeah, I love that. So community service is the next vocational or the avenue of service. Again, give an annual community service award versus vocational service award to a member of the community at large or a club member. You participate in Returning to Work Day, as we mentioned. Club participate in a literacy project in the community. Before the previous one was adult literacy, this is general. Club conducted a community needs assessment to determine potential service projects. Going back to the literacy project, it could be some simple ones clubs do about giving a book to the local library or school library, reading to children. It could be a number of things to satisfy that. Club conducts a needs assessment to determine potential service projects in your community. And number 5, collaborate, partner with a non-Rotarian organization or committee, at least one community service project. Another way to network and get Rotary's name out in the community. Involve family members and non-Rotarian community members in your service projects. and conduct a club or community peace forum or service project focused on peace, reducing bullying, addressing kids at risk, gang violence, battered women, etc. Excuse me, pull this up. And club involved every single member in at least one community service project. We know a lot of people some people get involved in more than one thing, but if you can make sure that everyone in some way contributed to your service projects, that's an additional point. Club participated or partnered in a local community service project this year related to one of the 6 areas of focus, which will be, if you don't know the 6 areas of focus, it's down below. It'll be a list again in the definitions. And GLUB listed one or more of its community service projects on Rotary Club Central Showcase. So there's several areas in here about encouraging you to be involved and putting those online. Or to sponsor a new Rotary Community Corps or support an existing one. And again, for many, and I know I was one of those who don't know what that is, you can go to the definitions, you can find resources to understand what that means. Our next avenue is international service, so that the club participates in a service project involving Rotary partner, like Wiltrout Foundation, Rotoplas, something like that. Undertook a new international service project, that's additional. Partner with a Rotary Club in another country to implement a service project. Sent club members to an international project fair. Those happen several times a year around the world. Partner with another Rotary Club in our district to undertake an international service project, providing money or volunteering resources. Smaller clubs often, that's the way they can participate, is by working with another organization. Engage in a literacy project with a club in another country. Provide Rotary volunteers for international service projects. Again, work with non-return organizations such as church or school organizations, and things like Project Shoebox, Shelter Box, Read to Girls, International Reading. A lot of these have been really well known through Rotary and easy to look up and check into. Provide support to our troops overseas. Provide disaster relief through direct contributions or organizations. Again, apply for an open world grant and from specific emerging leaders, Russia, Ukraine, and other Eurasian states, U.S. The idea being showing democracy in action. And again, open world grant is defined below. Number 12, club out at least 10% of the membership join a Rotary Fellowship, Rotary Action Group, and have club members, not including the president, register for the RI convention in Sao Paulo. So that means some clubs may have someone going, and that just gives some extra points. Excuse me. And the youth. Number one, everybody's involved in some way, and that's sponsor Kids for RILA, RILA counselor staff, sponsor Interact Club or Rotaract clubs, sponsoring a new Interact Rotaract club, additional points, actually support and participate in a program to combat substance abuse of youth, club hosting an RYE student during the year, sponsoring outbound RYEs. Pull this up here. Excuse me. You have a youth service chair. That's something that was added a couple of years ago. And members of the clubs are mentors to Rotaractors. Having Rotaractors, Interactors come to a club meeting at least once a quarter. Sponsor Rotaractors, Interactors to attend district conference. That again is just some extra points. And again, I use these as encouragements to clubs to think about how they might do these things that actually improve not only the club but our exposure to the community. Again, scholarships, graduating seniors, support a local school, support a scout troop, participate in district music and speech, and maintain contact with youth that have completed Rotary Youth programs or scholarships. And again, so often we found that we do these first ones and forget to follow up with them. How are they doing? Come back and talk to your club about the scholarship. What are they doing with it once they graduate? And connect them with Rotary as they grow into mature adults. And then club membership. So achieve the net gain of at least one member. So you can see that's our goal, but you get more points depending on your membership development. Conduct a membership engagement assessment and introduce changes to your club and how you retain members. Implement a new membership strategy, Ignite was a program started a few years ago, but there might be something that you're doing internally. And report that success to the district membership committee. Club has a membership committee with a recruiting chair and retention chair. That's something obviously that's being encouraged. Club initiates or updates a new member welcome and mentor program. Sponsors a family friend social activity inviting all club members. Hold at least 2 club assemblies focused on membership. Often those are done during a club meeting. Sometimes club assemblies are done separate. But we found a lot of clubs that were doing it during a regular club meeting that make it a little easier to put together and get attendance. Increase membership diversity by recruiting at least 2 new members from a demographic group that's not represented well in your club. Initiate an outreach program for club alumni, past members, or recruit at least 1 Rotary or Foundation alumnus in the club. Let me just bring up the end of those. Hold fireside training for new members, prospective members, completes the Ignite reporting. Club use preparing your club to grow survey and determine areas for improvement. I just saw our ex-DG Vicky send that out recently. Club president personally sponsors 2 new members. That's something that DG Joe put in. Ensures that every member has a profile on My Rotary, another one encouraging to get that done. And promotes member engagement, ensuring each member is assigned a specific role in the club leadership's development goal for the year, either in a leadership or member of a club committee. Another new one, trying to get new members involved quickly into the club. So if we have any more questions.
Larry, so a question, did you just have I have a question. Are women considered an underrepresented demographic?
They certainly can be, depending on the club. And I would say in most clubs that probably is still true.
So certainly in the Rotary world, having more women in as part of our members is considered a priority. So I believe that in the Rotary world they are considered an underrepresented demographic, although some clubs have more than 50%. So, okay.
Right, I would say it depends on the club, but I would say in most clubs I'm sure that's true.
So another question, and this is a tough one, a question as it applies to the SOS, the presidential citation, a number of these things, is what we used to call, Larry, the black hole, that April, May, June time period at the end of a club president's year. The comment is from Greg Felton. He says, it seems the cutoffs for these awards don't allow significant accomplishments to be acknowledged, the things that happen in the end of the year. So how would you address that?
Well, first I'd say great question, Greg. When I was a Rotary president, I had exactly the same question. And Vicki will know, as she became district governor, I brought that up as a question, and we were researching what ways we could do to improve that. Some things we can go back, because let me just go with the timing of our district conference in May does not allow us obviously to go all the way to the end of a regular year, end of June. So to get the data we need to present in May, I have to wrap it up by March 31st. So on a few things such as foundation giving, membership at club and their growth, those are reduced to that time period. Most other things, not everything adds up to that. We tried to do some things to go back to last April 1 to catch a full year. Unfortunately, on things like foundation and membership, the RI data is not set up to capture it that way. So we've had some restrictions and difficulties in doing it that way, and also some problems in moving the district conference later in the year, conflicting with a lot of other major events that are going on in the early fall. So we've had this debate, and it's a great question. I'm still working on how we can improve it. But I will say the good news is it is fair. Everyone's rated on exactly the same thing, on the same place in the same time period. I think there's a couple of areas of foundation, et cetera, that create a little bit of a black hole, but overall, I think we're catching.
So if they have an international service project being conducted in June, could it qualify for the SOS next year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Exactly. That would actually, projects, whenever they occur, can be brought in to the next year.
One other comment I would make just as a point of reference would be the fact that your foundation giving counts for your club all the way to the end of the year, and the Rotary International amounts, and for instance, if you want to be every Rotarian every year or a sustaining member club or 100% Paul Harris club, those numbers count all the way to the end of the year. Those do not stop in April for our award system. So the district awards may cut off in April, but the Rotary International recognition for foundation giving goes all the way to the end of June. So just a clarification there.
Yes, thank you, Vicki. That's an important one because this is just our district recognition or awards. This is not about the RI, and the RI is watching that all the way into the year, and that's an excellent point. Any other questions?
Let's see here. Doesn't the foundation for district end March 31st? Is that the right? I'm sorry, did I say? I was looking at April.
Correct.
So foundation giving for the district does end March 31st, but does not end for Rotary International until June 30th, or close
Correct.
to that.
Exactly.
Okay. And then also we just got a little hurrah for carry the project into the next year. So that's one way to handle that. Okay.
Yes, we've had several situations like that, and absolutely, some people may have their annual, you know, I'm trying to say, have their annual program where they're getting they're raising their money for their thing in that time period. And of course, we want to count that. Okay, well, let's talk about service projects, and these especially fit in anytime they're done. So we have put up there are they to be submitted. There's 5 for the Avenues of Service, 1 literacy, 1 for club returning to work day, as always. And this year, Joe added 1 for Rotary Day, the Light Up Rotary. So you'll see that when you look up that Light Up Rotary and the brochure, it's pretty broad. So there's a number of things that you do that could be counted as either one of the other projects or for Light Up Rotary. You'll see that when you look at their what the definition is. And then we judge those based on a number of things, you know, what uniqueness, what may be different. Maybe they've taken a very standard thing but put a twist on it. You know, it's one thing to give dictionaries to all 3rd graders. It's another how maybe they give those out and do some training or do something additionally to get those in and touch it with literacy. So something that may take even an old type thing we've done, but put something different. How many members, hands-on participation and time was involved is always a good factor. Fundraising and expenditures involved, so we understand what they accomplished. The lasting value to the community served, is it sustainable? Obviously the public relations value for Rotary, and demonstrating the ideals of service. So those are the main things we're looking for when they're judging the actual projects. And the note is that, again, we're encouraging people to enter these into Rotary Showcase and Club Central, because if they see it, and we're going to do our best to make it more visible at the conference, but there's a great way for them to go on one of these to find your project, see the pictures, see what you did. It's a great way to get your club out there for the great things they do. The next one is a word summary. It really is just filling this out. It's just a matter of getting your categories, the points in each category. You're going to put the title of your project if it's in Rotary Showcase so we can find it. But really, this is just a pretty simple program. Again, you're just putting in the data for, you're going to show us that you brought in a club bulletin, the website address for us to review and look up, your contributions here for capita, and you know, when it's due. And then, of course, this is the certification that once you completed it, that you, whoever's completing it, and the club president, complete that and sign it prior to being sent out. And then the supplemental instructions, this is where we're asking you, first of all, we're going to ask you to mail all these, so they're going to be hard copies, pictures, or on a USB drive if there's a lot of pictures. We had real trouble last year trying to do all this online. the data number with pictures was just very difficult to put together and organize. So we put information here on how to do some of these things here, but to get on, I think this is, yeah, the Direct Rotary websites, how to get on Rotary Club Central, and et cetera. And then the supplement information and definition. So we've got the 6 area of focus for people who have questions on that. If you were to take that link, the Light Up Rotary, you would be able to, if I can hyperlink it. Well, it didn't pull up what I wanted though, did it?
Usually you can just click on those hot links.
Should be able to click on them here. I'm trying to open them with a hyperlink.
I have a couple of questions too when you're ready.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is, would the club's annual fundraiser be considered a service project in the fact that it raises money for all in the community, for all the community contributions throughout the year?
It can be. It depends on what you're doing. So the project, the event itself may not be doing that. But if you're inviting a lot of non-Rotarians, other people that are exposing them, if you've got projects that you're doing highlighted during the event in some way, if you're showing them your community, it could be a service project, depending on how you're putting it out there with people.
Okay, so we'll see if that answered the question. And then another question is, what is the definition of Club of Excellence?
Club of Excellence, that's a great point. Club of Excellence is actually, we take the full SOS award, so we're going to take all the points that you can earn, the projects, etc., and that is going to lead us to the Club of Excellence. So the Club of Excellence is the club that has done the best they can with all the avenues of service in their club size, because we do it by club size. So we'll have Club of Excellence for medium, small, medium, and large. We will look for the total points in the projects and award it based on the total, everything together. Then there's Club of the Year, which is what the working together on those. Usually it ends up being one of those clubs, again, making them against each other and taking club size into consideration and projects and coming up with a Club of the Year.
Okay, so a follow-up on the question of whether the club's annual fundraiser would be considered a service project. The description is, we put on a 600-person event that includes community members and provides information about Rotary, and it involves work from all club members. Does that sound like it meets the club service project criteria?
Yes, I would. Without having all the details, yes, I would say, especially you're involving all your club members.
Okay. All right, I think we've answered the question so far. Thank you.
Thank you. So Light Up Rotary, using that website, I'm able to pull this up, and here's the brochure that comes from RI President, and this is a way that you can pull it up and see exactly what it is he's talking about, what Rotary Day recognition for clubs. They will give recognition. This is an addition to our recognition. So it's a way, it gives you information on what it would entail and how it would qualify. So I'm trying to, again, just give an idea of how that works. And so going through here, again, you'll see different things, Rotary Direct, Global Grant Scholars, all kinds of things here to help Rotary Academy, just definitions. So hopefully this is going to answer a lot of your questions on how you find these things or where they are. If there's any time you're looking and you don't think it's in there, please email me, call me, and I'm happy to, research that and get you back the answers that you need. And the very last part is how to add a project Rotary Club Showcase. Kind of gives you the outline of what you need to do that. So I guess we've touched on the club projects. A great question on Club of Excellence, and get to that of how that comes, and then the Club of the Year. And that really has touched on all of the different potential awards that can be achieved or obtained. And I guess at this point, again, any questions?
So Larry, I'm not seeing any additional questions at this point. I want to thank all of you who've been participating in this webinar with us. And Larry, thank you so much for going all the way through the SOS program with us. That was really helpful. So thank you again for your participation. Larry, thanks so much for all your help on this. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a good evening.